Follow me on Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah. Battlefront 3. I need to actually check out what the hell is going on with Battlefront 3. But for now, let's actually continue to another video that
You
I
know what
kind of
this
want to
is
actually
right here,
watch because
pal?
like this is the stop killing games. What the hell is going on with stop killing games?
You know what this is right here, pal?
Huh?
Ah, tough guy. You feeling lucky? Yeah, that's right. Spirit fingers. Do you know why?
What?
Because it's been about 30 hours since I last slept, and I've done 3 different intros, all of which crash and burned, and I am off my gourd, so now I'm going wacko mode. But,
Uh-huh.
even in my sleep deprived state, I am still lucid enough to recognize how cattywampus the AAA gaming space has become. Like, the gaming industry has so
So
many
he's gonna talk about AAA games in general. I want to talk about AAA games as well. Actually, this would be a good topic for me to actually talk about it, and I'll probably just upload this whole entire video into my YouTube channel. So like, let's actually see what he's actually going to talk about. I have a lot of things in my mind, but we shall see.
things that I have bitched and moaned about. Probably the biggest practice that I've been most vocal about, not exactly shy on, is the topic of you will own nothing and be happy. The Ubisoft motto. God rest that
Ah,
company's soul. What a pile of dog shit.
please. I'm pretty sure he's gonna talk about this Stella Blade CEO, what he talks about owning a game. I'm pretty sure he's gonna talk about that. Owning a game, dude. You pay $60, and then you're telling us we don't own the game? Come on, man. We give you the money. We already give you the money, bruh.
But it's not just Ubisoft. That has become a prevalent business strategy across the gaming
Excuse
industry.
me. Mm-hmm.
You will own nothing. You will be happy. You're basically you come away with the idea of ownership of whatever games you purchase. I've
Mm.
worn this topic out more than a fleshlight in a frat house, but it is something I am very passionate about. The gaming
Okay.
industry is getting away with more and more garbage where they'll take a shit in your mouth and you're expected to thank them for adding some flavor to your taste buds. It's
I am also very passionate about like, talking about this kind of games as well because like especially games that are actually being more and more trash nowadays. Yeah, I think like I should actually make more gaming content about talking about how trash some of the games are. Personally, Doom the Dark Ages, I feel like it was a little bit too expensive on their side for making a game like that. It was a little bit downgraded, but I haven't really tried it out yet, so I can't say for sure. But I can't spend that much money for a game. Skibbity toilet. Oh, wow, how are you doing, Juno? I'm sorry for saying toilet. I'm so sorry. Skibbity my underwear, I guess.
terrible. And there is an initiative that has been aiming
Mm-hmm.
to fight back against a lot of these practices that I think really need some big overhaul. And
Yeah.
it's an initiative that I think a lot of you are probably very familiar with. It's called Stop Killing Games. And I've followed it since
Here's the thing. The thing is that when making a game, you just have these people just wanting to actually making the decision whether or not they want to actually stay to the classic or they want to actually go for mainstream, or is it they want to actually make a game that is just for everyone. That's the thing. I think like most of the developers who are actually making games, I think they go lean forward onto making a game that is actually more for everyone, which is really not the ideal way of doing it because like yeah, we can make a game accessible, but like not too accessible for every community, you know? Because like the game like it's not only the game mechanics, it's the story, it's also the what with the difficulty sliders and everything like that. They can actually play a lot of roles here, a lot of factors here. Also, how are you doing, Juno? Also, um it annoys the hell out of me the fact that like you have games like Monster Hunter Wilds that is actually like giving out less friction than Monster Hunter Worlds, you know, which is kind of a bit annoying and a bit sad. The fact that they can't make a really good Monster Hunter, like monsters that is actually on par from the base game of Monster Hunter World. Maybe just me.
its inception. I've talked about it on stream quite a few times,
Yeah.
though this is my first video going over it. And I
Okay, I'm actually curious about this. Is it a campaign? Because I would love to join. Actually, to be honest with you, fun. I. What do you mean by I?
regret that now because I see it wasn't going as well as I thought it was.
Uh huh.
Admittedly, I didn't follow how successful the initiative was,
Mhm.
only that it was aiming to do good for consumers. and that it was taking proper steps legally to get there, and it
Huh?
was going through all of the right channels. And now
Okay.
today I watched a video from the guy that's spearheading this. His name is Ross. He posted a video called The End of Stop Killing Games where he's giving an update on
What?
where everything's at and how it's kind of at the finish line here with a lot of failure to show for it with only a few other chances to fight back. Now before
You gotten through the Tower of Grand Archives? I haven't even started playing Dust Street today yet. So because like later after this video, I'll play Dust Street.
getting into the weeds on the topic, I want to get this in the beginning because I imagine the vast majority of people won't watch the whole thing. I'm putting a link to the full video on Stop
Appreciate
Killing
it.
Games as well as a link to where you'd go to help support the Stop Killing Games initiative because there's only a little bit of time left for the most important parts of it now that it's at the end. So if you know what the movement is and want to support it but didn't know where, the resources are in the description, or if you want to get it right from like the source, I have a link to his video. But I want to go into it myself here because it is a topic that I do feel very strongly about. But for those that don't know anything about Stop Killing Games, I'm going to let him explain it in his own words. That way you can get an
Yes, please do.
actual, correct, informed explanation of what the initiative is. And the reason I say it like that, kind of like fucking all
Crazy that World War III about to happen before GTA 6. Honestly, don't we already have like a initiative from Donald Trump already like for having a ceasefire already? Honestly, I don't know what to talk about like, World War III unfortunately because like well, that is a bigger topic. That I feel like that's a bigger topic for someone like me to be honest with you.
pinky out, snooty,
Yeah,
is
between
because a lot of
yeah
people
yeah
don't even
yeah.
really know what this is because of people like Pirate Software completely misrepresenting what the initiative was.
As a refresher,
Uh,
Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers.
I'll pause
okay.
right there. The simplest bare bones birthday suit butt ass naked explanation for what this is.
Oh God.
Stop destroying things that people have paid money to own.
Yeah.
I think that is a very understandable, very reasonable take. Very agreeable. Now I want to quickly jump
Yeah.
to a different spot in the
I
video.
still don't get that actually. I need him to actually explain more. Now what? I don't know either. I'm actually more curious. Let him explain first. Let him explain
Because I think it's
first.
important
Because I'm
to
also
have
curious
this
about
in
this.
the beginning because it's
Okay.
something a lot of people have heard that comes from someone that is just wrong about it. It's
Okay.
the pirate software portion. Ross is addressing the video Pirate Software made many months ago.
Okay.
Ross even says that he didn't plan on doing that because he didn't want to be seen as using this for drama farming because it would start to make the movement.
Oh come on, brother! Just don't. Come on. Some people are going to actually think this as a drama farming, anyways. But like, it's a good topic to talk about. Literally, drama farming or not, it doesn't really matter. As long as you brought up a good topic to talk about, I think people would actually look behind of that drama farming thing to begin with. But I totally understand the concern. It's fine.
Look less
So
of like a
it's
legitimate
understandable at one
initiative
point.
and more of just like drama slop content type
Uh-huh.
thing. But he finally starts talking about Pirate Software here because it's at the end of the life cycle of this initiative and it's not looking promising. So he's willing to do anything to try and set the record straight and hopefully start getting more momentum back to the movement because the damage Pirate Software did to it through his video was substantial.
This video came out right as we were building momentum.
Okay, I'm very curious. What the hell did the Pirate Software even talk about the Stop Killing Games?
Then, except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork. Ford does not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
So, for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically we don't want single player games
No.
to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single player games inactive anymore.
What? I can see the Nameless King figure. Oh yeah, Moistcritical has the Nameless King at the back there. Yeah, I noticed that as well. He also has the Doom figure too, by the way. Fucking me, I love his collection. But also, what the hell? What is it? Wait. Sorry, I need to hear that again.
We don't want single player games
Uh-huh.
No.
to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change.
What?
They need to be specific that they're talking about single player games that do not need a server to support them.
No.
And as much
Wait, no. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, I don't think that's the initial talking point, though. Having a server for the single player game? I think the only reason why they wanted to do that is because they wanted to actually stop the game getting pirated, if I'm not mistaken. But then again, that has nothing to do with, like, owning the game, though. Is it not?
as they want it to
Excuse
be
me.
about specifically games where it is a single player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists. Instead of just targeting single player, always online games.
Okay, okay, I can see why. There are people are talking about like the initiative from Paris of Earth perspective about stop killing games is actually really high damage. I can see why now.
No, that's not what it is. Stop Killing Games includes single player games, but nothing
Yeah.
about it is specific to them. He
Yeah.
completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. It's the first line on the website.
Stop killing game is a consumer movement. Wait, okay, he's gonna read.
Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers.
Yeah, technically, it's not the same as only for single player games. If you give me a Helldivers and I pay for $40, technically you want that, and the game is still a live service game, but you still technically, allegedly own the game. Is it not supposed to be that way? Because like I think that's a what the fuck? All right, my God, applause. Thank you. What the fuck?
But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative.
He didn't
Okay.
even get the Cliff Notes summary right. He missed all the QTEs and got the bad ending on understanding the initiative from the jump here. Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with
Yeah.
just single player only games.
Yeah,
that were-
because like thinking about it, there are more multiplayer games that are actually really substantially needed you to pay. Of course, like we have free to play live service games, but like, what about the multiplayer one that you have to pay? What about like the games like Rainbow Six Siege, For Honor? Those two titles are actually from Ubisoft, and I don't want you to actually own the game instead. Even though you actually pay hundreds of dollars for the skins already in the game, like literally. So they're technically telling you that you don't own of them, which is insane.
require an online connection that when the online connection is severed, you lose access to the game. Like, yeah, that is included in all of
I
this.
guess so, but like usually isn't that thing happen for like people trying to avoid people like trying to pirate the game, which is actually much more harder for them to actually pirate the game. I mean, but like but like that has nothing to do with the whole entire thing of like owning the game or like stop killing the game initiative, because like what the hell is going around? Also, you can see the Sauron I added back there too. By the way, Sauron and the Numbers King. There is a Doom figure at the back here behind his chair here. If you don't actually realize it, and this whole entire thing at the back section for Moistcritical, it says Shift Kiss. Fucking beautiful. I wish I have actually like be able to own one of this, but like not much of a bigger. I wish I could have a room like this one day. I mean,
But that's not like what the whole movement is about. And for some reason, Pirate Software
Jenna
is
being
stun
cutie.
locked on that. Like,
What the hell are you doing?
fixated as if that is the actual like meat and potatoes of Stop Killing Games. They need to
Mm-hmm.
be more specific in their language about it being single player, always online connectivity games. When that's just not what it's about. Like, they're not being specific about that because that is not what they are specifically targeting. It is about the whole practice of destroying games that consumers have already purchased
Yeah.
and having no end-of-life plans for games that are being sunset. So, for example, The Crew. The Crew is an example everyone is going to reference and talk about because Ubisoft is still currently in a lawsuit battling against it for what happened
What?
with this game. I've yapped about it quite a bit, so I'm not just going to regurgitate that. I'm sure a lot of you already know this.
I don't know
story
the game
about
was
it.
actually
But
made by Ubisoft.
basically, you buy The Crew, Ubisoft pulls the plug on the servers, you can't play The Crew anymore, now it's just an old wet dream of what once was. And they are facing a lawsuit, and while this is in the umbrella of Stop Killing Games, it is not the only thing Stop Killing Games is referencing when it comes to this practice. Pirate Software is so hung up on it being single-player games that people lose access to, when that is a component of it, but not the
whole entire idea.
focus.
Well, the short version is the initiative is about requiring publishers to have end-of-life plans for games they've sold to customers in the future. So when they shut them down, customers can continue running them without their support.
Man, I got banned on Roblox and got banned on a game on Roblox by just talking about like lightsaber. How does that even work?
So that's one thing Thor doesn't understand, but he also seems to think this is about converting
Maybe you talked to a minor. Maybe that's why.
multiplayer games to single player.
Wait, hold on.
But he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single player.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around single player,
Huh?
rebuilding everything in the entire game. How are you going to do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player
What?
game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what they're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single player offline.
No! 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 What the fuck? Okay, yeah, that is so way off.
No, dude.
Correct. No.
This part is more confusing than...
Oh, wow, the hell? He actually hurt me? What the fuck? He hurt me and looked me into my soul. Okay, he said like, correct. No. Got him banned for 999 days? What the hell for just talking about lightsabers? Damn, Roblox can be a little bit tripping.
Higgins' wake. Because nowhere in anything on Stop Killing Games has this even been like a talking point from anyone besides Pirate Software. I don't know where he pieced this puzzle together. Like,
Yeah, like can you imagine playing Valorant and then you just realize that you can't, you don't have the internet and you don't have access to play the game of Valorant, so you decide to play the game single playerly when you actually supposed to play with other people. That's stupid.
like
It
I
doesn't
don't,
make any
I don't
sense.
get it. Like if I'm gonna try and like really reach here and give like a charitable explanation for this take, maybe he's extrapolating based on the idea that if publishers have to have end-of-life plans for their games, that includes MMOs, where once the game is getting sunset, you're pulling the plug on it. You would then need to turn the game over to the community in a playable state, an accessible state, like give the code to them. Thus, it'd turn it into a single-player experience, so the onus would be on the developers to rebalance their game to be a single-player experience for them.
Why? Well, that's so off.
I guess. I have no idea. That still just doesn't make any sense, but maybe that's the tree he's barking up with that thought process. I really don't know, because Stop Killing Games at no point ever says any of these multiplayer games need to be converted to single player. That really is outlandish. And the more I think about it, like the more nonsensical it becomes, because even in Pirate Software's hypothetical fanfic there, why would the developers need to rebalance the game? They would just turn over the code to the community and just it'd be in that state. They're no longer responsible for balancing the game. That's the whole point. They're not indefinitely supporting it. They would just be responsible of leaving the game in an accessible state to the community while they would shut down the servers on their end. Like,
Yeah, like that's why we have the closed server. That's why we have closed server beta. Sorry, that's why we have the closed server for people who actually like when the game is being stop supported, people can still go play the game at the closed server because the servers are not actually being updated anymore by the developers and they were being ignored to begin with. I think there is a game that has actually have closed servers even though they're being stopped they're being developed. I don't remember what was it. I kind of thought I don't remember, but like there are games like that actually. There are there's been developers have pulled the plug out, but people can still play the game online, but it's just closed. Do you say it's like, hey, want to see my live stream? Hey, yo, but sure. What color? Oh my god.
they wouldn't need to go back through with a whole development team and like, tweak the game to be single player compatible. It just doesn't make sense. Like I really do not understand that one. But apparently a lot of people latched onto that talking point from Pirate Software as something that Stop Killing Games was asking for and how unreasonable it was. Which, if that's what Stop Killing Games was asking for, it would be unreasonable. But that's not what it's asking for.
It makes
Nowhere
sense.
in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
It is vague, and because of that, it will impact.
He never has that light bulb moment.
Is the fact that you say it is vague? No, it's literally there. It's literally there. Telling you like the idea of like the game is literally just in general, not a single player. What do you mean by vague? Brother, you're looking too specific. You gotta look the bigger picture.
Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for.
I know this part is once again just reinforcing that he doesn't know what the Stop Killing Games movement is about, but I have to just show you this because it is so fascinating, because he himself literally calls out that Stop Killing Games at no point explicitly mentions single-player always online games or anything like that. And
Why Ross didn't make this video from the very beginning, and he worries about like the fact that he's getting like trying to get the cliff farm? Brother, that would be an amazing time for you to make a video right now, or like months ago, because I know that Stop Killing Games from Pirate Software video was months ago.
For some reason, instead of following the breadcrumbs,
I'm not mad at him. I'm just saying like he could have just made it much sooner, but it's okay on his part. I totally understand his worry.
that would naturally lead him to the conclusion of, oh, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe because it's absent here, that's not what this is actually about. Instead, he uses it as a criticism against the Stop Killing Games initiative entirely, saying it's just too vague. It's way too vague.
Because like the guy makes the bigger picture. What do you mean by too vague? And even if it's too vague, how is it you actually managed to miss the whole entire point? The fact that like people buying the multiplayer game can't own them, and then like you have the publishers that are actually destroying it. How?
The reason it is not explicitly stated there is because that is not what the whole initiative is about. It is not specifically targeting that thing that you keep saying that it is. I don't know how that never clicked.
But those were his
Neither do I. How can you actually never click that? Because the line was actually in the very beginning. Blim blim blah.
the smaller audience. What does he say in his big YouTube video with over 1 million views that he had time to research?
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player experience, and then taking away support in the future.
Okay, that's entirely different. That's entirely different. Stop Killing Games. The name was actually there. Stop Killing Games. It's not Stop Killing Live Service. It's not that. It's games. Games. Literally. English. English is not even my first language, but like I understood that more than most people does.
Now he's changed it again and is making up how it's about single-player games are advertised. What is he doing?
Yeah.
It needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not necessary and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem.
No.
Why are we even talking about this to begin with? Why is every person on the video just have long hairs? Because they're too lazy to go to a barbershop? They don't want to waste too much of oil to go to a barbershop? Or maybe they just can't find a good barbershop to begin with. Maybe in the areas they just don't have a good barbershop. I don't know.
That's not it at all.
This is a really...
Maybe everyone just wants to be Jesus. I don't know. Maybe their favorite character in their whole life is literally Jesus. I don't know.
Strong section from Ross here, because the clips that you saw moments ago were from his stream. When he took more time to watch it and digest it, he still came back in that video misrepresenting it. Like, it never dawned on him. Like, on stream, he could write it off as like, oh, he didn't grasp it in the moment, maybe later on he did. Well, then he made the video where he still was talking about things that
he made another video about it, following up, and then he still actually misunderstood? How? Where is the chat in his own chat that actually explains shit to him? Where?
Games was about, and this was the one that really blew up and really started to kind of dismantle the Stop Killing
I
Games
see now.
momentum.
If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. Don't play live service games then. Don't agree to those terms.
No, he's getting a new thing wrong now.
It kind of hurts me. I don't know why I'm actually hurting.
We're not against them existing, we're against them being destroyed with no recourse for the customer.
Pirate
Yeah.
Software then goes on to talk about like the business practice of misleading consumers into thinking that what they're buying is a product as opposed to a license to a product, which is a totally separate thing. And then he criticizes Stop Killing Games for not being specific about that thing that he is bringing up.
Everybody, I want to in the chat just press L for Pirate Software. L Pirate, like literally. That is so off. That is so off. To be honest with you, I'm pretty sure no one's gonna actually press L Pirate to begin with. Actually, I'm just joking. This is so off, man.
As opposed to what Stop Killing Games is talking about. So he's using that against them for some reason. And then Ross goes into like the license talk.
Our problem is not with licenses failing to inform people.
Yeah.
Blizzard says they can take away your purchase for no reason. That sounds pretty clear to me. Our problem is those terms are so hostile to consumers and the medium that they should be taken off the table entirely. This needs regulation.
It's like literally like you bought a cheeseburger, but then you pay for $20 for a cheeseburger, and then they just say like they can take away from your $20 cheeseburger anytime you want, even though with no refund at all. Literally, they can just take it away however you want. Even when after you eat it, they just still want that cheeseburger in your belly, so they just fucking take it out from your belly. Literally, that's literally what it is. What the hell?
Forget video games. If you look at basic commerce for hundreds of years, when you paid money, you either got to keep what you paid for, or if it was a service, you were told when your access ends. The vast majority of online-only games do
Exactly. Unless they did something wrong with the or when it comes to service, like they did something like a cheating or actually violated some of the TOS that actually really does destroy the whole entire gaming system that developers are not intended to do so, then there is a reason for them to actually get banned or actually get that right pulled away. Literally, pretty sure I was the only one who gave the idea to Roblox to add refunds for items. I think like everyone needs to have refunds at the very least when you get it terminated, bro. What the hell? And at least you should have a perfect decent idea of the reason behind it. But like when you pay something, you own it, and again, they are informed if it's service. They are informed upfront when their access is to do something ends. I literally text them 24/7 and just send me back $50. I just lost them in the game. What?
neither of those.
He's exactly right. That
So you got
is
it back?
a huge problem. Now, Pirate Software is correct here about these companies that will mislead consumers through this fraudulent advertising on what you're actually buying, because in a lot of cases, you don't own any of the shit that you are buying. It is pretty much a rental. You get a permission slip to access the content. That is an issue, and not making it abundantly clear to consumers that is what you
Take
are
your time, bro.
buying is a problem. And so too is the actual agreements, as Ross demonstrates with Blizzard, where it says they can just completely terminate it for no reason at all. It really does go against the basic idea of commerce entirely. Video games are in a totally different ball game when it comes to that, because half the time you don't realize that you're just buying an admission ticket to a game. You're not actually buying the game.
No, the money is just gone. What the hell, dude? Don't you have appeal for that? Can you not actually appeal your ban or anything at all?
You also don't know how long that's going to last. Again, to go back to Concord, that shit lasted less than a fucking rainstorm, basically. Like, there is just so many problems. So I don't know why Pirate Software would be so harsh on Stop Killing Games for not addressing specific things that he himself is bringing up or making up in regards to it. It
Fair.
just doesn't
Yeah, true.
compute. It really is a video that did significant damage to an actually positive initiative that aimed to help consumers in the video game space. all based on his complete misrepresentation of it, which was a complete mess.
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not want to run one at all, then no one's going to run them.
Oh no!
Dude, the thing is that like if they want to make a live service game, they can make a live service game. They don't need to actually make it into a single player game. Just make a single player game and single player game, and make a live service game as a live service game. Why you gotta make it jumble up together? But then again, you have live service games that are technically talk about like that you paid for. They're not free to play. You pay for those live service games. But those how? I did, but they are just idiots and keep telling me to ask the person who made Saber shut down just to send me Robux. The fuck? How is that even? What the fuck? How did Roblox even fuck it up like that, bro? What? Our Roblox are just high? I don't know. Never played that game.
He wheeled out that line about publishers having to support the
Excuse
game
me.
forever. He was literally watching the video earlier where it says it won't do that in big letters.
Oh, I see it now. What the initiative would not do: require publishers to give up intellectual property rights, require publishers to give up the source code, required endless support. That's the one, because we don't want a game that actually runs up forever. World of Warcraft is bound to die out one day or another to begin with. So like, because like, why we would need to pay World of Warcraft for up to another 100 years? That'd just be more boring.
That wasn't enough. We just can't stop gamers from going there, even when we spell it out.
That's the last clip I want to show from this section on the pirate software video, but it's a very
What
important
the
one because
fuck?
this is something a lot of people also think the Stop Killing Games initiative is about, where developers, publishers will have to support their games forever. Like, till
That's
fucking
dumb.
Heat death of the universe, they'll have to support these games.
Helldivers 2 are going to be like ending and are going to actually end their service one way or another at Helldivers 2. Amazing service, but that game would probably just probably stop at one point. Same goes to some of the gacha games that we have. Honkai Impact, that game I think already got stopped. Has already stopped being supported. And some of the gacha games nowadays that we have are just starting off right now. But you have to understand that will be an ending point for those games. I'm gonna hop on Desert Tree and try to get a Twin Grid Sword from the Ring City. Or Ring Knights. Okay. Well, all the best with your game, man. Also, hi, Blue. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? I'm just talking about like there's an initiative going around called Stop Killing Games, and someone actually misrepresent this whole entire campaign or initiative. I don't know what's the difference, to be honest with you.
Under the initiative, when that is not the case. It is very simply asking that when the game has reached the end of its life cycle, the publishers, developers don't want to work on it any longer, to turn it over to the community to still be in a playable, accessible state so the product can still exist. There is some more nuance, obviously, to how that works, given like publisher developer licensing and a lot of like the code, the binary, that kind of thing. There is a lot at play under the hood there, of course, but it is something that Stop Killing Games isn't naive to, and it is something that is talked about. But I'm not going to dive too deep into it. I encourage you to check more in on it. But this whole belief that it is about endlessly supporting a live service game, even when it makes no sense to do so and it's beyond dead and in the dirt, is ridiculous, because that is not what it is asking for. And a lot of people think that it is. It's not. Pirate Software got that wrong as well. Anyway, I'll stop yapping about it, but as mentioned in the beginning, most of Stop Killing Games hasn't been successful in getting change. And
I wonder why.
Ross has dedicated so much of his life to this, and it's clearly taken a big toll. Now he's doing everything he can for this last ditch push to try and help. And there are two big things coming up that can do so. And it's what I linked at the very beginning of the at the very beginning of the video about the resources in the description. It's in regards to this.
What's this? Oh shit! I just told you earlier. There's an initiative about things going around about like Stop Killing Games, and what Stop Killing Games initially is that, you know, like the Ubisoft thing that says like you don't own shit anymore when you actually pay us money is rental. So yeah, technically this is a initiative trying to fight against that. like trying to like play a game, you know, when you bought something, a game, those game technically actually you own a right to it, but the developer just said like they can pull the plug however they want it to be. But this is actually a problem back then. But like, I'll tell you in a minute because I don't want to actually prolong this video because I'm actually gonna upload it. What's crazy is the fact that you own the game anyways because you already pay for it. You pay for it and you get what you own, literally. And I'm surprised that he doesn't even talk about Stellar Blade CEO. But Stellar Blade CEO is actually based because like he literally mentioned this. He literally said like if you actually bought Stellar Blade, whatever you do for the modding is up to you because you own the game itself, and whatever modding it is that you're doing for the game, it's up to you. Literally, there's no problem between him and also the modding community. He has no problem with that. He literally acknowledged that people wants to actually customize or like do whatever they want with the game, you know, because sometimes you can't really satisfy everyone. That's why the modding community exists, so that they can actually try to actually satisfy themselves in the game where they can actually edit that out in any way or form.
One is for the UK to sign a government petition to bring this issue before Parliament.
What?
Though, keeping it real, I'm not terribly optimistic about this one, since the government response has been a mess by every definition. But the one that has a lot of power, so much so I think it could change the course of gaming history, is the European Citizens Initiative.
Eh?
Now, I said I'm approaching this like a time traveler because with the trajectory we're on, these are both going to fail. Again, this one is crazy powerful. But the hurdle we just couldn't get past was that it requires 1 million signatures from citizens of EU countries. And we've only made it just under halfway.
Damn! Only halfway? Still, that is very impressive, the fact that you actually made it to halfway. Very good job!
Is that in the EU especially, it's almost a state of lawlessness regarding the practice of game destruction. Is that the vast majority of games with an online requirement say they can be terminated at any time for any reason. Or Blizzard likes to say any or no reason.
But which sucks. Why would they need to do that when you pay for it, man? Unless they violated the game that it's not intended to. That I totally understand. But like, this is something that they actually pay for it. And you tell us that we don't own for it? What the hell are you talking about?
Uh-oh. According to the EU Commission, that might be a violation of Directive 93/13 EEC.
Jeez! Wait, really? Directive 1913 EE prohibits the unfair terms causing a significant imbalance in the parties' rights and obligation to the detriment of consumers. Terms such as those related to the unilateral modification or termination by the trader of a contract of indeterminate duration without reasonable notice may be deemed unfair, subject to a case-by-case assessment. Damn, Blizzard, you are going to get fucked up by this. You might get fucked up by this, actually. This is a law that's prohibited by your own law. Why?
Of Directive 93/13
Jeez!
Which protects consumers against unfair terms in consumer contracts. So if that term is unfair, that means that part of the contract is null and void.
He goes on to explain how powerful that can be because of what a mess that is.
Yeah.
Because there is so much gray area with how the video games currently operate in regards to those protections, it would be a legal headache that would require an analysis of the laws or implementation of new laws that could lead to, hopefully, an improvement when it comes to gaming.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I just want to say something. Why is this a big problem for the big company that actually literally says that they can actually just, hey, you don't own the game, but you pay for, we can just pull the plug however I want. Here's the problem. A game is still a game. I totally get that. But then again, when you buy something, it's a game that you pay for. You literally own that. Alright? What this company wanted is that they want to actually try their best to actually suck the money out of you as many as possible. So for example, you bought a game for a week. You rent the game, right, for a week. Like the same price. $60. You pay the game, alright? You go into your account, you play the game for a week, you didn't finish it. Oh shit, I can't finish it in a week, unfortunately. You stop playing the game, and then months later, and then you realize the game that you own earlier for a week is actually not there anymore, of course, obviously. But the game requires you to pay again so that you can actually play the game again, and or at least continue where you actually left off. This is why I don't like World of Warcraft because that game is actually dog shit. I don't like MMORPG. The fact that you have to pay monthly is because technically speaking, it's just discouraging for me to actually play the game for each month when I don't even know when I can actually even grind the game. That's the problem that I have. Because technically speaking, you're wasting a lot of money, but they still get the money. They want the money, and they can change almost anything what they want. Because like with this whole entire scenario, it means the developers has power over your own questioning of the company's movement. They can actually fight against you. They can actually win against you. They can literally just like do whatever they want with you to make them pay them actually, which is not a very good practices model. It's dog shit because like it's like Star Wars again, where like they can make hard garbage and get it and still like say, hey, it's okay, we can still make money out of them because people are still gonna buy it anyway. Like Nintendo as well, where the game are just literally just the same and people are just buying it because of nostalgia bait, which is entirely probably very long off of like I'm moving away. I'm moving it from the whole point. I get it, but like you see what I'm talking about, what I meant by the company is trying to take advantage of you, right? They're trying to take advantage of you. And that will only happen when this whole entire owning a game, is actually not applied to us at all. Now they're losing money via law and regulation. Of course, thank God for the rights law from each company. If the EU say like if the terms and conditions are seem a little bit unfair for the user, or I think it's only for the user. I might be wrong on that one. That means it's a violation. That's a good thing because like I said again, like imagine you bought a $10 cheeseburger and then literally McDonald's just said like, no, 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 we're taking the cheeseburger away from you without no reason or anything at all, even though you pay $10 for it. What the fuck? I paid $10 for the McDonald's chicken burger, and I can do whatever the fuck I want. I want to actually eat it, or I can actually go around and decorate it however I want. I could probably experiment it however I want, bro. What do you mean?
So the big hurdle was the signatures, needing 1 million,
Yeah.
and currently it's at like 460,000, so it doesn't reach the threshold. I've been very vocal from the very beginning about how little faith I have in petitions. But that's just from the perspective of an American. In America, petitions are more worthless than toilet paper. You're better off just writing what you want.
That got it back once I make a trip to the toilet. Yes, sir. Wait, what? What? That came up from nowhere. I might be our farming or not even as Raider Remembrance or Artorias. Raider, do it for Raider.
On a note to Santa Claus and shipping it to the North Pole than you are doing anything with a petition in this country. I don't know how different it is in the EU. Maybe it really is this powerful there that could lead to substantial change and improvement when
Yeah,
it comes
it
to
could be.
games and preservation and all of what we've already talked about. Hopefully, I mean, that's really all that's left for the Stop Killing Games initiative, which sucks, but that's the position that it's in, unfortunately. And I wanted to talk about it because I really want to see something change with the games industry.
Me too.
I've said that so many times recently, but it's in such a sorry.
Gaming industry notice are actually really, really on fire right now. Even though we have good games coming out one after another, but like, you have to actually admit it. The fact that we have a lot of gaming company that are just really trashing onto the consumers, really just trying to take advantage and try to suck the money out of you whenever they can. Literally, right now it's just not a good spot right now. They're like changing the agreement, the TOS going around Nintendo, Ubisoft, like Blizzard. Now they're like trying to actually just say like slap you in the face. Your gamers are stupid. You don't actually take it. Maybe that's a little bit out of course to be honest with you. But then again, like I said, I just it's not a good spot. It's really is not a good spot.
Sorry, state. I mean, I'm talking big budget AAA space. Indies, I think, are absolutely crushing it. Absolutely,
Indies are
golden
actually
right
amazing,
now, in
yeah.
the golden age of indie games. But overall, in the big budget games and the way the industry keeps pushing things, it sucks. So
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about stop killing games here. Hopefully, things can turn around and
This is why Xbox is truly the most friendly consumer um company out there, because they make the game available for anyone anytime they want. Because if they can increase the user coming into their own product, they can literally get the money out of it. Make it accessible as much as possible, and that is already a big W from Xbox, because nowadays people are actually can access the technology anytime, anywhere right now. Even the kids can actually play the tablets nowadays, actually, so they know how to do it. So that's Xbox has been doing a really good W here, left and right. But I do not know for how long though. We shall see. But like I do have to say, like owning a game, I think consumers should fairly say that actually they do have a right to actually own the game
maybe a
that you
huge
pay
W's
for.
around the corner for the Stop Killing Games initiative. We'll see. But anyway, I want to commend Ross for his hard work spearheading all of this for so long. And that's really about it. See ya.
Yeah. Really bad video, but I think I should really link out to you the video of the initiative, support the initiative if you want to. That's up to you guys. This is the initiative that you guys want. If you want to go here, you can actually just go ahead for it if you want to. I need Xbox to take down the strike system. I have never heard of that. Maybe I'll check it out next time. But like, yeah, I think like if you actually like pay a game, I think you should really directly actually own the game itself, so that it's more friendly consumer for the